Welcome back, everybody. How's everyone doing this morning? This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean. You are the UVE community, and couldn't be happier, couldn't be more excited, couldn't be more thrilled to join you guys once again, because we don't have any time to rest, neither for us or for Ruben Amorim and his squad, as United are fresh off the heels of our 1-1 draw away to Real Sociedad, to turn around and host one of our fiercest rivals in the Premier League. Obviously, we've got some great memories. I mean, our rivalry with Arsenal goes way back. I consider Arsenal more of a rival than City, more than Chelsea, just because of what Arsene Wenger did when he came in. And obviously, if you were around, if you were a United fan in the late 90s, early 2000s, I mean, you guys remember some really good moments. I think that the passion and the fire we saw when these two sides used to clash was just something that you woke up early for, right? Rude versus Martin Keown in that big match, Keane versus Vieira. We all love that shit. And then you've got like the banter-worthy stuff, like taking Robin van Persie from Arsenal, only for him to win us the league, and having Arsenal give us the Guard of Honor when we did that as well. That is priceless. They have gotten the better of us, though, Arsenal, in recent years, including in this reverse fixture back in December. I think we did lose that 2-0. But we also did knock them out of the FA Cup in January. So both sides are kind of looking to make it to best of three tomorrow. So we're here to preview that, to talk tactics, talk what Amorim has had to say, team news, all that. So drop a like in the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's get stuck in with the big preview here. Oh, first and foremost, though, big up to the under-18s. They played Derby County this morning in their league. We are still first in the league. Well, we went in tied on City in points, and Derby were third. Derby were up for it, though. They did a good job of pressing us, making it very physical, almost a bit too physical at times, honestly, if you guys watch that. Their right wing was throwing elbows at Kokonki left and right, but Ibrahimov helped out when he came on. We went into halftime down 2-1, came back to win it 3-2, which was excellent. Goals from Armour in the first half, Biancheri as well, and then a pen from James Scanlon. So big up the under-18s who keep on rolling after a little bit of a stumble last month, but good to see them doing well. And then, obviously, before we get started, if you are in Manchester for the match tomorrow, the 1958 have organized that protest ahead of kickoff. As you can see, I'm representing today. Glazers out, as always. But if you're able and you're interested in joining that, again, there's no pressure. Obviously, I'm in the U.S., so I'm not going to be there, but doesn't mean that anyone who's there can. If you feel safe, if you feel like you want to, if you something that you feel, go join the protest. So, again, it's the way we can get them out. Amorim was actually asked about the protest in his press conference, and this is what he had to say going into it. He said, "People have the right to protest. I think it's a good thing to do that. It's part of our club. Everyone has a voice." So, again, no pressure. It's your right. I think as fans, it's the Glazers' debt. It's not the fans' debt. We shouldn't have to pay for that. We shouldn't have to see the debt reflected in all areas of the club. So it is unfortunate that Ineos are kind of having to clean that up, and they're having to make a lot of decisions, some of which I agree with, some of it I don't. None of the decisions I like, but it is what it is. So it's more of a which ones can I understand the need for all of them. I don't really like all of them. So, but it is what it is. But yes, if you are able to go check that out. So let's dive into this match. So Arsenal are second in the table right now, but they couldn't be further from actually challenging for the league if they tried. I mean, they're like 13, 12 points off. They had their best chance these last few years to really try to get a title, but I think they just missed their chance. I think that was as good as it got. And I think that's done and dusted. I know it. You know it. I think everybody really knows it. So when Arsenal fans are ready to admit it and they're ready to have that chat about Arteta and all this, we can do that. Like, we're all be sitting here with the "I told you so" faces on. We're going to be easy to find. Maybe should have hired a few more pickpockets, Arteta. I don't know. Trust the process, though, right? They were knocked out of the FA Cup, obviously, by United, knocked out of the League Cup by Newcastle. They are 13 points behind league leaders Liverpool, which likely is going to mean another trophyless season for Arteta. They did get a big win over City last month, but it's not really been great since for them. They lost to Newcastle. They did beat Leicester, but everybody beats Leicester. Lost to West Ham, drew with Forest. They grabbed a big win, obviously, this week over PSV Eindhoven in the Champions League round of 16. But if they go through, which it looks likely, they get to either play Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid in the next round. So again, trophyless season for Arteta. I mean, obviously we can't talk, but we're gonna banter. This is part of banters. You can sit here and keep your powder dry, but at the end of the day, you gotta be able to banter at some point. Otherwise, you're just never saying anything. I don't like always having to wait until we win to just banter. Banter's part of it, and sometimes it does mean taking the L, but we're here for it. But we're also in very different places right now with Arsenal in terms of our rebuild, in terms of our process. Arteta's had a bit of time. He and Edu worked hard on that squad. They're still not quite there. Obviously, the big miss for them was not getting a top class striker. So they're suffering the consequences of that. Without Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus, they don't have strikers. Even with Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus, they don't have strikers. And it's not sustainable. We saw them try to ride the wave of set pieces, and that's tapered off. It just doesn't work. We knew that would happen, though. They've been heavily reliant on guys like Odegaard, Rice, Nwaneri, Trossard's come in recently. Like Mikel Merino, who they just brought in, he's recently pitched in a bit with goals as well. I mean, they can add all the midfielders they want. They can put as many numbers forward as they want. And guys like Marino and Trossard can pop up with a goal now and then. But like Nuno Espirito Santo said after their 0-0 draw, like the midfield is where you need to watch Arsenal. They get a lot of midfielders. They cause a lot of movement. And therefore, if you can beat them in field, if you can press that, if you can stay compact, you can have a decent shot. Problem is, though, again, for Arsenal, without that designated target, man, they're going to struggle, especially against sides like Forest, who make themselves difficult to break down. Arsenal do throw numbers forward. They do kind of get a four-man up there with that extra striker, and they'll pass the ball around a lot to try and get a lot of movement to try to find runners, try to find good people, good players in good spaces. It's just if you can lock that down, if you can read that, again, make yourself difficult to play through. Like Forest, you can nullify any hope that they have of finding a ball through those lines. Now, I don't think that we're going to be the pushovers that PSV were. We do need to lock it up, though, if we want a chance at getting a result tomorrow. Problem is, for us, unlike Forest, we are ridiculously easy to play through. The midfield especially, one pass and it goes from opposition's half into our final third, typically, even with a fully fit squad. And we can get done by these runners. We've seen a lot in these last few games. Our defenders are kind of a bit stationary. We're not really quite following up the play. We're not really mindful of the man at the back post, and we're kind of just letting the opposition do all the running in the box while we just kind of stand around and wait for everybody to do something. Still, that being said, our low block and counterattack combination that we've done recently has looked decent. So maybe with just a bit more tightening up, a bit more compactness, a bit more just focus and being switched on, we could maybe get close to replicating what Forest did. It's a big if, though, honestly. I think we'll probably end up seeing more of a back five than a back three, but I honestly don't have a problem with that. Again, sometimes it is a needs must on the day. Jose Mourinho can teach you all about that. Diego Simeone can teach you all about that. Sometimes it is, and it isn't abandoning of principles. Sometimes it's just on the given day against a given opponent, you have to change things up a little bit to use the opponent's strengths against them in some ways. Again, this counterattacking recently has had us looking decent, but the problem is the space between us when we make the clearances too. So we'll win the ball by sitting up on a low block, but the space between our when we're winning the ball in our own third outside of our own box, and the space between that and the attackers is literally the whole midfield is too much space. The final ball needs to improve. We need to connect a little bit better. Gabriel and Saliba aren't going to give us a ton of chances, so we need to do better with the chances that we get. We can't afford any more of this not getting your head up, lashing into the side netting, like Dallo not picking out the open attacker. Like that can't happen anymore. It's just not going to work. I don't know if that was personal or what, because we've seen Dallo do that a couple times. Dallo's just in the moment. Remember he missed that sitter last season, or was that earlier this season as well? Right before Ten Hag got sacked. I mean, his like mindset, his mentality in these crucial moments is just not there. What does Amorim had to say ahead of this one? So asked about fitness, he couldn't say whether or not Maguire or Ugarte would be fit. He did say that Ugarte will be back soon, probably. He said that we could see Shaw and Mason Mount again before the end of the season. I I wouldn't even. I'm not even counting those guys as players. Collier returned to action though against Sociedad, and he looked excellent. I wouldn't be surprised to see him start this one personally. Um, and he did actually also provide a little bit of hope regarding one player that we have been missing, and that is Amad Diallo. Box, big up, man. How are you doing this weekend? Hope everybody's Saturday is going well. It's supposed to be nice this weekend. I think tomorrow, if it ends up being as nice as it is, I might have to kick a ball around for a little bit out. But good to see you, Box. Big up. Um, so on Ahmad, Amram said, even Ahmad, we'll see in the end of the last month. I don't want to say anything to you, but I have the hope to have Ahmad before. So he's hoping maybe to have Ahmad back before the end of the season. Ahmad's still registered in the Europa League too. So if we do end up making it to the final, unlikely, but if, let's say if, we might actually see Ahmad on the pitch again before then. So could be interesting, but not getting my hopes up, not holding my breath, but it's one of those cautious, optimistic kind of a things. But he said we are trying to see all the players that are fresh and they're not in danger of getting an injury. Even that we have to risk a little bit, but we have to be competitive on Sunday. So he's trying to find the balance between, yes, the players might be carrying something, but we sometimes we have to risk it, but also not wanting to push it too hard in some cases. So Box asks if we would rotate a little. I mean, it's hard, right? Because it's just a depth thing. We don't really have a whole lot of options right now, man. I could see Collier maybe starting ahead of like Casemiro or something for this one, but I think he's got a little bit more mobility, as we saw when he came out against Sociedad, getting involved. I think that could help, but it's just a matter of options. Like, would I all things being equal, of course, we'd want to be able to, but I also want a strong squad. It's just we don't have the options at the moment. We literally have like only one striker, Garnacho, Xerxes. That's pretty much it. Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno. Not even maybe Ugarte. Dallo, Dorgu's obviously still suspended, so it's needs must. And all these players have been playing like every single minute of every single match. It's just not ideal. So would I is a question that I wish I could ask, but or I could answer. It's just not really any options right now. So that's almost why I'm like not doing as many starting 11 picks these days, because there's just not any wiggle room. Big up Hakuna Matata. Good to see you again. Bach says Lindelof, Collier, Eriksson to start. Yeah, I definitely consider giving Collier a start over Casemiro. Casemiro's played like almost every minute these last couple of games. But we will see what happens. Amorim did mention that Kabi Mainu could return soon as well, but whether or not every United fan would welcome that is another story these days. There's loads of rumors yesterday and today that apparently he's set to reject a new contract. He wants a lot of money, reportedly. We'll see. I still find it hard to believe. There are accounts that I trust way more than some rando connected to the Guardian who's only got a couple thousand followers than that guy. Academy Scoop is very close to the Academy on Twitter if you guys follow him, and he's been pouring cold water on a lot of these rumors. We talked about this the other day. I'm sure Manu wants more money. I mean, that's just the way it is. He's contracted for another couple of years, though, so there's not really any pressure, but I can't see him demanding. He's played literally just over a year of first-team football for this club, so I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, but we'll see. Again, like, I'm not saying either way definitively. I'm saying I trust some sources more than I trust others. Everybody's jumping all over this, though, as usual, and it's just piling on and piling on and piling on. So, but I will say this: if it is true, let's say hypothetically it is true that Manu is holding out for big money. Bye. See you later. That just is what it is. Hakuna Matata, how are you doing, man? I'm doing good, man. Just I'm bumming. I went. You guys know I sub in for Justin's his like co-ed indoor team, and I went Thursday to play, and I felt really good. I've been working out, got these new indoor boots. I was getting involved in the warm up, and then I like checked my phone before the game just real quick, and I had like a client emergency pop up, so I wasn't able to actually play. I actually left right before kickoff, so I'm bummed about that, mostly because I did not know that was the last game of this season. So if they do another session, I'd love to join in, but I was just really bummed about that. But What do you guys think about the Manu stuff? We've talked about it several times now, but Kuna Matata said, "Did Manu place a transfer request to Chelsea? Not that I know of. Again, we've seen rumors, we've seen Chelsea links. I mean, you're going to see links left and right, especially when people take a little bit of a rumor and then it just snowballs. But that's just the way it works at United. So we'll see what happens. But again, I believe sources like Academy Scoop more than I believe this random journalist, what's his name, like Will something or who's a couple thousand followers or something. So Bach said the report said he'd be interested in a move abroad if he leaves United. Yeah, I mean we'll see. I don't know what a kid with 1 year of first team experience is what they're thinking. I mean, but we'll see. I still find it hard to believe, but I'm not saying I'm right, not saying I'm wrong. Kuna Matata, thank you for the support. Subscribe and like. Yeah, if you guys are new, please subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 3K. Like the video if you haven't yet. It does help the channel grow. It does get you guys, more involved as well. We got a lot of cool streams planned coming down the pipe here in the chamber. Dylan's going to be joining me sometime soon. Hopefully, we're going to be talking about, rating our post Fergie managers at United. So that'll be a fun video. I thought maybe we would also do a video where we pick our 5 best post Fergie signings as well, if that's something you guys be interested in joining in on. So let me link up with Dylan. We'll get that date squared away because it is always difficult to coordinate, timing and everything. Thankfully, technology lets us do that virtually now. So, but we'll see what happens. But stuff like that coming down the pipe when we get a little bit of breathing room. It's going to be hard this week with Europa League again midweek. But Fox says if I'm his rep, I'd be changing my arm too and trying to get big wages, but ultimately he won't get them wages. He's not going to get anywhere near what these rumored things are like. Remember, the initial thing with coming from Chris Wheeler was 200K a week, and that was just pulled out of thin air. And then Chris Wheeler decided to go down to 180K a week last week. I don't know where Chris Wheeler's getting this information, but again, I just find it hard to believe. I'm sure Kabi Manu is only on 25K a week, so I'm sure he wants a little bit of a raise there. I get that, but anything more than like 75, 80K, maybe up to 100 with bonuses, is just asinine. Because if let's say again hypothetically 180K, like we spoke about the other day, then you're literally like the next contract's going to have to be like 250. Like it's just ridiculous. And as a club, we're trying not to do that anymore. So it's not going to work out. So, Box says 100K wage, which is 5 times increase, is a great wage. Yeah. And that's a terrific wage. Like, and again, we're talking about this like this is true. Again, we're speaking in hypotheticals. Hold on. What are you doing? What do you want, man? I'm live right now. You're live right now? Yeah. Guys, say hi to Justin. I'll call you back. Later. You guys remember Justin. Speak of the devil, right? Box says, even then you look at Wirtz on 76K, Yamal 32K, Casado 10K, and these EPL English players don't realize how good they got it. Yeah, I think they all just, and I think it's a bit, I think I see this as a lot of pressure too, because obviously we know what the kind of financial situation we are in right now. So I feel like the last thing that some of these players are going to want to do is put more pressure on the club right now. They know that right now looking at these contracts is not super high in the priority list, and there's not a ton of wiggle room with PSR. So let's say, again, hypothetically, if this is true, I do think that's kind of not cool from Kavi. But again, I don't know how much I'm putting into this, but Hakuna Matata says, Justin is the one that looks like Erickson. No, that's Dylan. That's chilling with Dylan. We're going to be meeting up with him sometime soon now. And now Justin pops up in the chat. That's my bad, bro. Phone didn't notify me you were live. No, you're good, bro. It is all good, man. People, we know you. You need your membership. You need to turn the bell on. Click that little notification bell next to it. It'll let you know when stuff's popping up. Box says, I like the new wage structure we've implemented. Yeah. And I don't have a problem with the wage structure. I think that we need to be looking at players who are on their first, second contracts, players who are looking to, who even if we doubled their wages, it's going to maybe be like 100K a week or something. Now you're going to miss out on world-class signings, but I don't think we're anywhere near where we need to be right now to get someone on like one of those like cherry on top of the icing. We have to build, not buy, for a couple more years. So Jonathan David, Victor Gyökeres, not on a ton of money. Victor Osimhen on a ton of money. So it just doesn't make sense to me to be interested in these kind of players right now. Jonathan David will be free. You probably have to pay him 100, 125K a week. Victor Gyökeres is not even on 50K a week. Now, I'm sure these players are probably going to want to play in Europe, so that might play into it as well. But we'll see what happens. But I do like the way we're rolling. So Box says Ugarte 120K, Dorgu 30K, etc. Yeah, I don't have a problem with these. Now the Ugarte one's a little bit, but I think because he came from PSG and they upped his wages, we were always going to have to. Now maybe a little bit of better scouting, and I love Ugarte, but again, if wages are the priority, then we could have looked at someone like a Friendrup or something I think he's at Genoa now. I think I've kept saying he's at Bologna when I know he's at Genoa. I don't know why. I think I was getting him confused with Ferguson for a bit there. Justin says the bell is on. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't notify you. So like sometimes someone will leave a comment on a video after the fact and I won't get notified. I won't even know unless I go and look at the comments for that specific video. So it's weird. Justin getting some love. Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, Justin got himself a brace the other night though, indoor. So big up Justin for grabbing a couple goals as well. Too bad I couldn't be there. I think we could have made the difference because Justin and I have been playing together for a while, so could be linking up. So yeah, exactly. But the menu stuff, again, you guys know, take it with not even a pinch of salt. Take it with a gallon of salt right now because you got to look at the sources for a lot of this stuff. Even if it's coming from a big site like United District or something, go click on that link, go click on the article, read it, and the moment you get to something that says like United District understands or coming according to sources close to United District, I'm not trying to pick out United District, I'm just using them as an example. The moment I get to the whole sources according to sources or United whatever understands, I exit because it's not a source. There's nothing there. So don't read the tweets, read the articles, look at who it's coming from. Sometimes that's more important. So Justin says, also, let's take a moment to laugh at Shitty for losing to Forest. Yes, that was going to be my ending. But why not throw it in now? Yeah, City, big up Forest that was a huge victory from them. What a ball from Gibbs White to find Hudson-Odoi. Everyone wants to give us shit for selling someone, for getting rid of like Elanga, but nobody wants to give Chelsea shit for selling Hudson-Odoi. What are you going to do? But yeah, City did lose 1-0 because that's just what their season is going like right now. It is what it is. And how about 100 million Gvardiol getting completely done in that 1v1 for Hudson-Odoi's goal, done at the near post? Like the dude has got to be one of the worst defenders I've ever seen. And comparatively speaking, I forget how much Forrest paid for Murillo, but Murillo was an absolute warrior. And I know Danny B, if he's watching, Danny B loves Murillo. I love Murillo too. Good left side. He would be an awesome Leacher replacement. The only reason I haven't really included him in a lot of these scouting videos or these target videos is because he's going to cost a lot of money, especially if Forest are in the Champions League. He's going to cost a fortune. So I just don't see it as a realistic target. And there's other options out there too that are pretty good. So Box says Man City's 15th defeat this season in all comps. You won't hear anything about it though, even though Pep's out here dressed like David from Schitt's Creek on the touchline. If you know, you know. That dude's out here cosplaying, man. Seriously. Box says I like Anderson. Joachim Anderson, they got him from Palace, right? Yeah. Good. He's a good foil to Murillo. Murillo is definitely a Leacher. He's definitely got that mentality. He was an absolute beast today, Murillo. I would have given him man of the match, but Hakuna says Guardiola's League One level defender. Yeah, he pops up with a goal now and then, which is cool. But do you spend 100 million on a defender for him to score goals? I mean, I guess you spent 100 million on Grealish to not score goals, so maybe that's just the way City roll. But literally 200 million on absolute waste men. But you won't hear a thing about it. Especially Grealish was a release clause. They straight up paid. They forked over 100 mil for him, man. Box says Murillo looks a beast. Yeah, he's an absolute monster, Murillo. He was such a force today. Elliot Anderson for us. Is he the midfielder? I can't remember now. Yeah, they're doing really well. I think obviously they're overachieving, but they did manage to sustain their form. So again, big up Forest if anybody's gonna do that. I mean, we'll see. It could be they'll get a couple good matches maybe in the league phase next year in Europe. Who knows? They did add like 24 players a couple seasons ago, so they've got a big squad. But the step up to European football is a lot different, and then you've got to balance that with all these other competitions, and so that's where the real test comes from. These smaller sides that do manage to find their way into Europe, like Brighton, like West Ham, like Chelsea in the Conference League. That's where the true test comes. Do you have the quality and depth? Can you do that? So Bach says, will be funny if City fail to make CL. It will be funny, mostly because it'll just go ahead and prove what we already know, is that we get more shit for winning trophies than City or Liverpool get for getting knocked out of them, or Arsenal for that matter as well. Ten Hag literally got more shit 30 seconds after lifting the FA Cup trophy than Liverpool got for getting knocked out by Plymouth. Like, it's absolute ridiculous. But we knew all that. So, moving on to what else Amorim had to say. What do you make of his comments regarding the difference between the time Arteta has had at Arsenal versus how much time you get at United? Would Arteta have lasted at United with 5 years of no trophies, eighth, fifth, not winning anything? Like, we've seen managers get sacked the day after winning the FA Cup, and Amorim is not wrong, right? Amorim was asked, on Arteta, he had to deal with some big players at Arsenal who he had to get out of the club, and he had to make some big decisions. He's made Arsenal a big force again. Do you see some similarities with what you've got at United in the way you're having to go about the job? Amorim said, I don't feel that. Again, I will not have the time that Arteta has. I feel that. It's a different club. So we just need to survive the players on Sunday and me during these games. I think it's a different club. I think in that aspect, the way Arteta dealt with that, it's an inspiration for everybody. I will not have the time like Arteta did. Big comments, big claims. I've heard a lot of different outlets kind of going back and forth on how they want to interpret this. I think they might be reading a little too much into it. I mean, he's not saying anything we don't know is true, but that's kind of been the thing for Amorim, right? He said stuff that we know is true. The question is that stuff you should be saying? This is the worst United side in history. Yes, it is. We know it. We can see it. Is it something that you need to say out loud, though, kind of thing? And that's kind of the hard line to walk as a manager. This is why I couldn't be a manager, because I give zero fucks when it comes to this kind of shit. But again, it's about the relationship between you and the players, and then in this case, the relationship between you and the owners. I've seen some people claim that he's kind of calling out the owners a little bit. He's kind of challenging them, kind of putting it public, so they kind of have to, publicly look like they're backing him. Is he simply talking about the difference in the pressure that you get? We've had how many managers come and go since Arteta was appointed? Maybe is this subtle challenge to Ineos to stick with him amidst the hard times? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think of some of that. What do we got here? So Box asked me, would I rotate again? I just don't know how many options. I would say that someone like Casemiro, Mizraoui, Dallo, they probably need to rest, but they just can't, honestly. You would have hoped maybe we'd be in a different position. Maybe we had more players fit, and maybe some of them could rest. Maybe Dorgu's not suspended, but we just can't. To be honest, pretty much everybody needs a rest. Everybody's pretty much having to play every minute right now because we either have a bench full of youngsters or we've just got guys like Eriksen and Lindelof who are just recently coming back from injury. It's just not ideal at all. Again, Dorgu's still gone, so Dallo, Mizraoui probably going to start. Maguire is still a question mark, but again, I don't think we're going to see much changes. Perhaps you could argue Eriksen starts. Maybe you could even say Xerxes can maybe start as the 9 and maybe bring Højlund off the bench to maybe come in and have an impact against some tired legs. Maybe he could not win a pen like they did against Arsenal last season when Gabriel pulled him down in the box. We need another striker. We need some other options. We need some players back fit so badly right now. We just don't have any options. On the striker, though, I saw a report from L'Equipe this claiming that we're in for Mateta at Palace. So, again, I don't know. This is what you're going to see every time a player has a decent match against United, every time a player's doing well. We're just going to get linked with him. That's just the way it is. And then you're going to see fans lap it up. They're going to see, we should be signing. Why aren't we signing him? Like, it's the same cycle every single day almost with this club. And I think that Mateta, he's having a good season, but we've seen that from players before. Bellotti had a great season. Nobody can tell me where he's playing now. Tony had a great season. Where is he going? Mbuemo had a great season. Like, It's just this is what happens with strikers in the Premier League. They have good seasons and then they taper off. Delap's having a good season. He'll probably go to like West Ham or something next year. This is just the way it works in this league. We've seen it all over again. Box says Obi cameo off the bench versus former side. Yeah, and that's where I was getting at, man. I'm interested to see if the youngsters play. I'm interested to see if who makes the match day squad. Are we going to see more Kone in the squad? Obviously, Obi's probably going to be here. Garnacho may be on the bench for this one. We know he tends to do a little better. Garnacho, like, I'm not getting as frustrated with him as I am as Onana because our Garnacho is so young, but Garnacho is swiftly running out of time to develop and improve in a lot of the areas that he struggles in, i.e. his decision-making and his finishing. As an attacker, as a winger, and in this system as one of these kind of inside forward 10 roles, the things that he's struggling with are the things that he cannot be struggling with. He just can't. You can't just ignore your teammates. You can't just continually make the wrong decision. You can't fail to get your head up in that final phase time and time again. The one time you did get your head up, you found Xerxes and we scored. Like, I don't know how you can see that as a player and realize, okay, maybe I just need to do that more often. And yes, I might not get the goal, but I've created that goal, which is great as well. So if he doesn't, I mean, he's got to go because he's just not doing it. He'll go down the Rashford route if he doesn't, and he'll just keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. I would say this is one of those matches where a win kind of feels bittersweet because it just puts more distance between Liverpool and Arsenal, who are in second, right? We don't want to help Liverpool. But I don't think we're in a position right now to really worry about that, to be honest. We have a lot of other things we got to worry about. We got to worry about just limping to the end of the season. We got to worry about not getting relegated. I'd like us to worry more about maybe getting past Sociedad this week as well. But I do want 3 points. I do want to put out a team and put out tactics that give us the best shot at sending Arsenal home empty-handed. I think that would be great. But again, a win would still feel a little bittersweet because it just puts Liverpool 3 points out of touch. They're already it's already pretty much it, right? But it would take a massive collapse for them to drop it now. It's theirs to lose. But Arsenal are the clear favorites tomorrow, though. Let's not have it any other way. So anything other than a loss for United for us would be huge. Even a draw, I'd still take a draw right now if it just meant nobody else gets injured and we can just go on to the next round. But as you say, Box, Cheeto coming on and scoring against his former club would be a huge bonus. It would be such a welcome injection of excitement and morale boost. You know, can you imagine? We were watching the match against Fulham, hoping that maybe Cheeto would score a winner late in regular time, because it would have just been limbs. We probably would have had to pay for damages at that bar, but it would be the same tomorrow against Arsenal at Old Trafford. A youngster striker coming off and scoring the winner would be just fucking massive. Bricked up for days on that one. Be riding the wave of that positivity. Order myself a 24-pack of Gooner Tears and chug them live. It's just the way it works. But I'm not going to get that greedy. I'm not going to get that naive because it's just he's still young. He's still got to go. But what are you guys predicting for this one score-wise? Box is 100% bittersweet, but it looks over anyway. Yeah, it's definitely over, but it is what it is. I'm calling a 1-1 draw again. I know I called that against Sociedad, but I did get it right against Sociedad. So call me boring, but I just don't see us. We just don't have goals. We've literally the last 2 matches have ended 1-1 draws basically. So it's just not ideal. Arsenal have also failed to find the net entirely in 3 of their last 5 in all competitions. So I don't see a whole lot of goals in this one, if I'm honest. So I'm calling it 1-1. What do you guys say? Box says a shock 3-2 win. I'm assuming that means for United, right? Hakuna Matata says, Mr. Oh, you don't have to call me Mr. Man. You just call me Sean. Where do you think United will finish next season? Oh, I can't answer that at this point in time because a lot of that is going to depend on how the summer goes. Who stays, who goes. That's going to give me a better idea of what chances we have. It's just going to depend on summer business. I mean, that's it. And we have to sell players probably to strengthen as much as we probably need to. And even then, it's a big ask. I can't imagine us finishing this poorly next season as we're doing this season, like bottom half of the table. But again, you'll have to ask me again towards the end of the summer. We'll do predictions, obviously, towards the end of the transfer window once that gets going. And things like that. And then we'll rate the transfer window and all that. So we'll save all that towards it. Over the next few weeks, we'll probably go ahead and do a transfer target video based on priority positions and who I like to see us sign and things, some options. Usually it's like 4 or 5 things. So with that in mind, that's what we'll keep an eye out for. Hakuna Matata is going with the 1-all draw as well. Buck says, Hoyland, Garnacho, Xerxes with the goals. Big talk, big talk. I want to hear that bass. I want to say it with chest, man. Put it out there. Put that positivity out there into the universe, my guy. We are more energy than actual stuff. We are like 99.999% energy. Put that positive energy out there, my guy. Let it go. But I'm calling 1-all draw. But neither team looks up for it in terms of finishing. We're struggling, and Arsenal don't have strikers, but they still have players who can pop up with stuff, and we have players who they're behind each other. We're doing really well at kind of just stifling players, and then Xerxes obviously in really good form right now. So we will see what happens with that. Don't forget, the women's team does play Sunderland in a couple hours around noon in their quarterfinal of their FA Cup title defense. So if you guys want to watch the women's team, I think it's on Paramount for me. I don't know what it's on in other countries, but you can go support them. They're doing really well. They've got, I would put Fallon in net for the men's team before Onana any day of the week. I would take Jade on the right as right back over Dallo right now. But and then again, yeah, big up the under 18s for winning today, putting more distance between themselves and the rest of the pack. Obviously, they played Derby, who are in third, and now I think we're top in the league for that now. I want to say, let me check the table again. Yeah, so we are top. We are 1 point ahead of City, who I think they play. They play Stoke. So City won today, but we are still a point ahead of them. So big up. So thank you everyone for stopping by. Hopefully we'll come back. What's the name? Monday. Hopefully Monday we'll be talking about a win. But wherever you guys are watching it, enjoy. If you are in Manchester and you are going to the protest tomorrow, just be safe, be smart. You're right. If it gets a little rowdy, just get out. It's not worth getting arrested, getting hurt, or anything. But you don't have to go. There's no pressure. But the 1958 are organizing that. As you can see, I am repping today. So Box says the front two are well clear. Yeah, they're definitely well clear. So it's us and City. It's one of the Manchesters for the under 18s. But until then, you guys like the video for me if you haven't yet. Hit the subscribe button too if you're new. Help us grow. We're on the road to 3K. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on the content like Justin did. And then don't call me while I'm doing it. No, I'm just good. It's all good. We love you. Take it easy, you guys. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.